What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your Monday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeff 85 here, and I'm going to just go over some of the quotes that were made by head coach of the New York Football Giants, Brian Daboll, as well as key players on the team, Daniel Jones, Xavier McKinney, and Andrew Thomas, as the New York Giants got ready for the first of many off-season workouts and practices that began today at Quest Diagnostics Center, April 17th. As we all know, we are just about 10 days away from the NFL Draft that begins next Thursday at 8 p.m. for the first round, where the Giants are going to find out who else is going to be joining their team as the future of this organization going forward. But the Giants ended up beginning their off-season workouts today, where they had a good, very, very strong turnout today in terms of like the players that were at the practice, which is a very, very positive sign for the New York Giants. The fact that they had so many people that we hear representing the organization to full-fledged, and that's the best part of the whole thing, is that the Giants had a lot of players that ended up showing up here for the team. So, now I'm just going to go over some of the bullet points and the quotes that the head coach Brian Daboll and some of the key players in the New York Giants went over. First, we'll start out with Coach Daboll. One of the things that Coach Daboll said is that he has talked with both Saquon Barkley and Dexter Lawrence, and that he'll keep those conversations private and he'll take it day by day. Obviously, we are talking about the situation with the contracts with Saquon Barkley and Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence right now is on the 5th-year option. He's looking to get paid a long-term deal, looking in the range of what Jeffrey Simmons, Javon Hargrave, and Daron Payne got, which is around $20+ million per season in terms of his next contract. And Saquon Barkley, he's right now looking for around Christian McCaffrey money, which is about $14 to $16 million. And some numbers have already been leaked out that apparently the Giants offered him about 3 years, $13 million per season. And Barkley and his representatives turned it down so far. So we're going to have to wait and see how that progress is going to play out between Barkley and Dexter Lawrence, along with the New York Giants organization, and how they're going to see if they're going to put together and work on a long-term extension for both players and get them ready for when they start off-season workouts and training. Then there's also another quote where he says, there's a high percentage of people in the building. It's good to get off to a good start, and they've had a few meetings already. A lot of players are there, a lot of key players that were drafted by the team last year, including Marcus McKeithen, Joshua Zudu, Cordero Flott, Dane Belton, Wan'Dale Robinson, all these key players, Kayvon Thibodeau, all the key players, Evan Neal, all of them are in the building for the New York Giants. You got key veterans there like Darius Slayton, Daniel Jones, Leonard Williams, to name a few, Xavier McKinney, Andrew Thomas. There's a lot of key players are at the building, and this team is here representing in full, which we want to see for this New York Giants team. Daboll also said they have a lot of different draft meetings last week, and there's good collaboration with coaches in front office, and they all have been productive conversations on the same timeline. On the same timeline. Everybody's working in harmony. Everybody's in sync. You don't have to worry about this person thinks this way, this person thinks that way. Different regime, different timeline, different structures. Nope. Buffalo Bills system, working on the same timeline, know what they need to do, know where they need to pick, and that's exactly what you need. Continuity within this organization and the structure of this organization, and that's exactly what they put together. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it looks like that they're starting to put together their draft board and what they're going to be doing in the NFL draft going forward. Daboll also said, Daboll also went over and said that they've done a lot with the weight room this offseason, and they think it'll be more productive for the players. And he said improving is a never-ending process that touches all parts of the organization. Absolutely, why the hell would you not want to try to improve this team? You want to try to get better. You don't want to be complacent. You hate hearing the word complacency. You never as an organization want to be complacent. You always want to try to see if you can better yourself and better yourself by a wide margin compared to what you did previously. And that's exactly what this New York Giants organization is trying to do. They're trying to get better in terms of their training. They're trying to get better in terms of the field turf. They're trying to get better in terms of their depth on the roster, their drafting, free agent signings, trades, everything, personnel-wise, coaches, front office personnel, everything this organization is trying to improve going into this upcoming off-season workouts, NFL draft, everything, etc. So I'm happy about that. Daboll said they had a brief team meeting this morning, and it was a good time for new players to put a face to the name of the support staff. Why wouldn't you? Have as many meetings as possible and get the new players extremely acclimated to what this process is going to be like for this team. Get them ready, get them together, give them an understanding of what to expect when you're going to be part of this New York Giants organization going forward. I appreciate that. I'm happy about that, and I'm glad to see that everybody in this organization is doing what's necessary to get these new players in there and acclimated to what it's like to be a New York football Giant. This is the NFL. There's a lot of things on the business side. It's April 17th here. There's a long way to go. Absolutely. There's still plenty of this offseason to go. Like I mentioned, NFL draft is next week. You got undrafted free agents. You still got some more free agency news and matters that's got to be taken care of. You have off-season workouts, including you have OTAs that are going to be happening in May. You obviously got mandatory minicamp in early June before you get ready for training camp in the preseason in late July, early August. Daboll also said that the team is about today and not yesterday after a successful first season, and he said that they have a good group that understands where the focus needs to be. Bringing back the same good leadership that you had previously last year, which is absolutely 100% a necessity, number one. And number two, he understands that you can't dwell on what you did last year because in the NFL especially, it does not matter what you did in 2022. That is last year. That is last year for a reason. You have to get focused on 2023 and what you're expecting to put together in 2023. Because if you dwell too much on 2023, what the hell are you going to be doing going into next year? You're going to be too busy resting on your laurels for what you did the previous year instead of focusing on what you're going to do this upcoming year. And teams win in this league. It's not just about collecting talent. It's about building a team in the challenging part. Damn right. Trenches. You could have all the superstar talent you want on your team, but NFL, more than anything, is about team fundamentals. It's a team sport. Quarterback, the offensive line works with the quarterback works with the running back works with the wide receivers and the tight ends. Everybody on that offense has got to work together. The defensive line works with the defensive ends. Defensive tackles work with the linebackers, outside linebackers. They work with the inside linebackers, which work with the safeties, which work with the cornerbacks. The punt return, the long snapper works with the punter. Punter returns with the return game, etc., etc., etc. It's a well-oiled machine. You can't succeed unless you have every other component on your offense, your defense, and your special teams, and especially your depth being able to come together as a unit. And Daboll also said in his final quote, they learned a lot about Daniel Jones last season, and he learned about them. He has the knowledge and the language down. Now it's about adding new wrinkles here and there. They're going to try to do whatever they can to improve on Daniel Jones' game and try to get the most out of Daniel Jones going into his second season in this new system with the New York Giants under Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, and Shea Tierney. Now to get to Daniel Jones' quotes that he said, the quarterback of the New York Giants, who's coming off, obviously, that 4-year deal, 2 years guarantee at about $150 million, $60 million guaranteed. Jones' first comment that he mentioned is that they said they need to have a jump start this offseason because they know the system, which obviously they do now. They have the experience now in the second year of this system. But you always have to have a fresh start, and they're always evolving, adapting, taking things out, and adding them. Always want to add new wrinkles to your offense, to your play calling, to your style, formations, route timing, everything. Route running, routes concept. You always want to add new wrinkles to your offense as you continue to go forward into this upcoming season. Everybody's got their own situation, and he's hoping for the best for Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Jones is talking about the contract situation with Barkley. Everyone in the building knows the type of player and teammate he is, but there's a business side to it too. Jones obviously knows about the business side of everything, as he would know because he went through the same exact thing with the New York Football Giants, so he understands what needs to be done for Saquon and why he doesn't blame Saquon for doing what he's doing right now. Everyone's got their own situation. Jones said it's good to It's good to feel the energy of the new players. They bring new skill set, and he wants to get to know them and how they like to do things. You want to learn what your new players can do. Obviously, on the offensive side, you're talking about Darren Waller, the big trade that they picked up this offseason from the Las Vegas Raiders, also including free agent wide receivers Paris Campbell, Jeff Smith, and Jamison Crowder that were added to the roster too. So you want to implement them, get them used to what type of routes you want them to run, the offensive plays that you want them to be involved in. So that's obviously a main thing that Daniel Jones is trying to instruct to all these guys and these players going into this offseason. Jones said building chemistry with your center takes a lot of time in the classroom and on the field, and he's excited for whichever player gets the job. We know that the center position is not defined right now. Obviously, right now, John Feliciano and Nick Gates both departed the team in free agency. Gates is now part of the Washington Commanders, and Feliciano is part of the San Francisco 49ers. So we know for a fact that there's going to be a new center or centers on this team going into 2023. Right now, you have in-house guys like Shane Lemieux, you have Ben Bredesen, and you have Joshua Zudu and Jack Anderson, who are in-house candidates, but you know for a fact the Giants are going to be targeting a center in the second, first, or third round in this NFL draft. Daboll keeps a pretty fast pace. This is what Jones says about Brian Daboll and his offense. Daboll keeps a pretty fast pace in installing the offense, and Jones joked that you never have to worry about getting too far ahead. Pretty much saying that the team gets off to a quick start in this offense, being able to be ahead of the schedule, knowing where it is, being able to think quick on your feet, and just getting everything together as an organization and an offense going forward. Jones said he said everyone has a tremendous amount of respect for Barkley and Dexter Lawrence. Talking now a little bit more about Barkley and obviously about Dexter Lawrence, who's also not going to be part of off-season activities. As like I mentioned, both of them are looking right now to secure long-term deals. Jones said that they have a mature locker room that understands the business of the NFL. You have veteran players in there like a Jahid Ward, a Leonard Williams, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Xavier McKinney. You have a lot of veteran leadership, Jahid Ward. You have a lot of veteran leadership on this team that have been here for multiple years, and they know what is to be expected of this team, and you don't blame anybody for what they want to do in terms of helping out themselves and their families, and they have a very mature, good concept with their overall, locker room, which is a very positive thing to hear, and Daniel Jones is just elaborating more about that. New tight end Darren Waller gives defenses something to worry about because of his size and skill. Nobody understands what type of impact Darren Waller is really going to make for this offense when he's healthy. When you have a player of his skill set, 6'6", about 230, 235, 40 pounds, who can run up the middle. He's elusive in the middle of the field. He can jump up and get the catch. He can run good routes up in the middle of the field. He's a former wide receiver out of Georgia Tech, Golden Jackets, so the guy knows how to play the wide receiver position, and he's just going to open up this offense because teams are going to have to pay attention to his ability to break down the defense over the middle or on the outside, and because you can line him up anywhere on that offense, it's going to open up passes and situations for the running backs to be able to they're going to open up more holes for the running backs to make big plays in the running game. You're also going to open up more opportunities for the wide receivers on your team to be able to take advantage of the one-on-one plays. And in terms of the, Daniel Jones also talked about the continuity of the offensive staff, pretty much talking about his coaching staff. Having continuity with the offensive staff, Jones said they won't look past anything or skip steps, but they have the foundation, and it definitely gives us a little bit of a head start. Obviously, we know about what he's talking about. Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator, who was in the running for the Indianapolis Colts and the Arizona Cardinals jobs. Both of them, he was not hired as the head coach over there, and Shea Tierney was up in the running for the offensive coordinator position with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after they let go of former offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich. But now both Tierney is coming back as the offensive quarterbacks coach and Kafka's back as the offensive coordinator. You still have that continuity with the staff, and you can be able to just continue what you're doing going forward with this organization. It's just going to give them another head start with this offense going forward. Now I'm going to get to Xavier McKinney, the Pro Bowl safety for the New York Giants. McKinney in his first quote said that his hand is good to go after a tremendous amount of work and rehab, and he doesn't think that he needs to have anything on it this season, and they will see how it goes. And McKinney says that he's 100% for sure. Obviously, we're talking about the ATV accident that he had during the bye week of last year, where he ended up fracturing a couple of fingers in his hand, and he pretty much had to miss most of, if not the entire rest of the regular season, though he was back for the playoffs, and he did help out that defense. And it's good to hear that McKinney seems like he's all the way back from that injury. He's asked whether he will need to wear anything on his hand this season. McKinney said, "Either way, I'm going to play at a high level." Would not expect anything more from McKinney, who is already one of the better young safeties in the NFL. He obviously has just got to make sure he shakes that injury bug. But either way, McKinney is a top-level safety. He's good in terms of his ranginess, in terms of being able to play in the box, and his coverage skills. Just have to make sure he stays healthy. That's the biggest thing for him going forward. McKinney said that they didn't play well in the NFC East last year. So every team to beat, not just the Eagles, it has been on their minds all offseason, as it should. Giants only won one game last year in the division. They lost to Dallas twice. They lost to Dallas twice. They lost to Dallas twice. They lost to Philadelphia twice. They tied Washington, and they beat Washington. They need to do a lot better job in their division. If you want to be a team that's going to ascend to the next level, you have got to win your divisional matchups. And I'm glad McKinney pointed that out, because the most important thing for an NFL team to do, if you want to take the next step in your progression, is you have to be able to go out there and win in your division. McKinney also said he's glad that Wink Martindale is back and he can continue to build off what we had last year. Nobody understands how big of an asset it is to have Wink Martindale part of your defense going forward and calling those defensive concepts. What he did for that defense last year and the frustration that he gave all offensive coordinators last year is so paramount to why it's vital to have somebody like Wink Martindale back running this defense. I think it's a beautiful thing that McKinney said that about having Wink Martindale back and building with this defense that they currently have together. It's a beautiful thing to see what Wink Martindale is going to be able to do with the defensive player he has right now on the roster. And obviously, more players are going to be coming through the draft, and including some players that he's going to be getting back from injury and second-year maturation is expecting from some of the players on this roster. McKinney also talked about his former teammate, who is now part of the Seattle Seahawks, Julian Love, where McKinney says, yeah, it sucked to see Julian Love go, but glad to see he got paid. They still talk, and McKinney says they are like brothers. Obviously, because the both of these guys played in that locker room. They were two leaders in that secondary for the New York Giants for the past couple of seasons. Both of them pretty much were drafted a year apart from one another. Love was drafted in 2019 and in the fourth round out of Notre Dame, and McKinney was drafted in the second round out of Alabama in 2020. So both these guys obviously had that familiarity and connection, and the fact they both played in the secondary together for the better part of 3 seasons. So he's happy for Love that he was able to get paid and being able to contribute and continuing his career over there in Seattle. McKinney also said that he reached out to new acquisitions for the New York Giants, Raheem Nunez-Roches and Bobby Okereke, defensive lineman Raheem Nunez-Roches, and inside linebacker Bobby Okereke after they signed, and he said that they're 2 great dudes, and he knows that they're ready to go, and they will add to what we have. Obviously, McKinney being captain on this team, he's going to pretty much just help get these guys acclimated to the New York Giants in terms of their defense, what to expect from both these guys, get them acclimated to what you are expecting from your defense and what Wink Martindale is going to like running with his defense going into this upcoming season, which I'm like that the fact that McKinney, who is a captain on this team, is reaching out to both these guys immediately and letting them know what to expect and letting them feel more acclimated to this team going forward. And his last one, McKinney says he also reached out to new acquisition on the offensive side, Darren Waller, before today. And for him personally, he knows it's going to be a fun matchup in practice because you know these two are going to be matching up a whole lot during training camp. He's going to hurt some people on the other side of the ball, and I'm glad he's part of our squad. Obviously, McKinney knows the incredible talent that somebody like a Darren Waller is going to bring to this offense going forward. And he's just happy that he's going to be on this team. And he knows the type of explosive characteristics that a Darren Waller is going to bring to this team so far. Now I'm going to get to the final player that brought out his quotes and talked about what he's going to be looking forward to in these offseason workouts and going into the more in the offseason programming. And that's stud left tackle Andrew Thomas, who's coming off a second-team All-Pro season and should have been a Pro Bowler this year. I don't know why he wasn't, but we don't have to get into that. One of the top left tackles in football. Thomas said entering the offseason healthy, and he's hopeful to translate well this season. And he said his focus has been strength, especially upper body. Thomas is trying to work more on his upper body strength going into this upcoming season in 2023. And he wants to work more on trying to be stronger at the point of attack against some of these stronger defensive ends and defensive tackles that might try to keel out to the outside or pull to the outside against him in certain defensive packages. They're going to try to bull rush him on the outside. So Thomas wants to get a little bit more upper body strength while still maintaining that certain type of leverage in the outside and not being able to lose a little bit of quickness and speed and having that good first step when he's able to, release off the left tackle side for his size. Thomas also talked about giving the biggest advice to second-year right tackle for the New York Giants, and that is Evan Neal, for taking the next step and just take it day by day and don't focus on results. Obviously, Thomas knows about how judgment was placed on him after his first year, where he started off rough in his first season, where a lot of Giants fans were pretty much saying, oh, we don't want him anymore, get him out of here, he sucks, he can't get it done. And then Thomas ended up progressing very well during the second half of his rookie season, and now he's emerging as one of the top 5, if not top 3, young left tackles in the NFL at only 23 years old. So he's giving that same type of advice to a guy like Evan Neal, who's only 21 years old, and just letting him know it's a day-to-day process, and you don't think about the results that happened last season. Just keep your focus on what you're going to be looking forward to doing and your improvement going into 2023. And Thomas also said he's starting to transition into a vet mindset, and he wants to be more vocal and take guys with him. Thomas obviously is trying to emerge more as a vocal leader on the offensive side of the ball for the New York Giants and just the team in general. He is going into his 4th season now in the NFL, so he's trying to emerge now as a veteran leader on this team. We know he's one of the best players on this team, top left tackle. He's going to be with this organization for the most part for a very long time, and he wants to become more of a leader now, become more of a leadership aspect on this football team going into the offseason. So I love hearing that. I love the fact that he's taken Evan Neal under his wing now, pretty much trying to help this kid out and getting the most out of Evan Neal going into his second season in the NFL. And the fact he wants to keep improving on his skill set, gets a little bit stronger, not lose any of that speed or quickness on the outside, and continue to emerge as a top left tackle in this NFL going into the 2023 season. So just wanted to give you guys all the quotes and bullet points for the New York Giants from head coach Brian Daboll and key stars on the team, left tackle Andrew Thomas, safety Xavier McKinney, and quarterback Daniel Jones, going into the offseason workouts that begin today at Quest Diagnostics Center, April 17th, 2023. Hit that like button if you haven't already and give a sub to NYG Jeffy T85. More news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you thought about the New York Giants in terms of their quotes that you've heard from Thomas, McKinney, Jones, and Daboll in their press conference today for the Giants, beginning of offseason workouts today. What you liked, what you heard, if you didn't like some of the things you heard, and what you're going to be looking forward to going into these offseason workouts starting today, obviously transitioning into minicamp, training, OTAs, other offseason workouts, and then obviously more talk about the NFL draft that is only 10 days away. Can you believe it? It's only 10 days away until the first round of the NFL draft that begins on August. I'm thinking August already, like it's August. I've already got football on my mindset. April 27th, next Thursday. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants as always. Together Blue, everyone.